Season 3, which is really the rest of the storyline that they wanted to do in Season 2, but then stuff happened, and I don't know, because I'm really conflicted on this. To summarize it very briefly, I do like the added layers and complexity that we get to everybody's storylines and how almost all of them are walking the line between good and bad, believing that they're accomplishing certain things and knowing that they have to kind of betray people in their circle. It really does merit the air quotes because, once again, very few people are interacting with each other. But I do like that added complexity, but the problems is that you remember how in my first review for the show I said that the show did a good job of giving everyone flaws and not making my overall opinion on them really go down like what was going on with Lost, and I thought that it was doing a better job like the overall Battlestar Galactica show did in that aspect. Well, now we've got the Lost angle where now I'm looking at everyone going, why the hell did you do that? And just, what the... that kind of a thing. And also, some of the added backstory makes a few things that we thought or assumed were true in Season 1. Now they are not true, and it hurts the season because Meredith, okay? Claire's biological mother. Claire finds her in the trailer park, alright? And, you get the attitude that she's been there for a while. She's carved out a little niche for herself and is making the most out of a reasonably bad situation. But turns out she had literally just been let go by the company, and it was her getting into an altercation on the train that caused the train wreck that Claire runs in and saves somebody from. I mean, like, the second part, okay, still makes it a freak accident and Claire saves somebody nice, but knowing that origin, it cheapens it. And now knowing that Meredith hadn't been there that long, who knows, maybe she had that address as a backup, I don't know, but it just, it hurts Season 1. And knowing that Peter and Nathan's dad is alive? I don't know, guys. Yeah, it's... Again, part of me wants to like this, part of me doesn't. It's like with Big Brother America 14. Yeah, part of me wants to like it, part of me doesn't. Yeah. I'm really, torn on this. And this does still kind of feel like a comic book trying to build the complexity, give people flaws, because this show was being made right at the point where I felt that comic book movies and other adaptations started a shift to where they were trying to show their characters as being more flawed. Because, from what I recall, a lot of people hate Batman vs. Superman because they felt that the characters were too negative, but at least for Ben Affleck's portrayal, that was what I liked about the character, the fact that the character had problems. Because that's about all there is left to do with comic book stuff in at least the movies. I haven't watched too many TV shows yet, but I want to. Oh god, do I want to. But we gotta see what happens in that regard. Just because you want to watch something doesn't mean that real life steers you in that way. I didn't expect to restart this thing a year after ending it. Well, technically a few months. Because I was making videos long before I posted that first one, but... But even then, though, there were times where it's like, okay, guys, make up your minds. Are we supposed to be rooting for this person or not? Claire's father. It's the same approach that they've done in the previous seasons. Him trying to do things to protect Claire and his wife and his son. And I do think that is his biological son. Not that it really means much if you're a biological parent, step parent, adopted parent. For crying out loud, I didn't meet my step dad until I was about to start 8th grade, if I recall correctly. By the end of high school, it was as if he had always been there. There you go. But anyways, now, due to some of the stuff that he's doing, even though his hand is forced, given the corrupt government, both in the final timeline and then the alternate timeline that other future Peter used to come back and he shoots Nathan. Great twist, but the fact that it seemed like for the first half of the season we kept jumping between timelines, it didn't do the best job of that. It's the kind of thing that you ought to be paying a lot more attention to than I think a lot of us would like to do. Not saying that I don't mind the concept of an alternate timeline. Season 1 touched upon that and then fleshing it out some more, which is what a lot of us, including me, wanted to see more of in Season 1. So again, it's good and bad. Yeah. Okay, where was I? I lost my train of thought here. Well, oh yeah. Claire's father, Noah. Whatever his name. You know, I want to appreciate what he's doing, but the way that he goes about it in a couple of ways, yeah, I'm less sympathetic towards him than I was for the first 2 seasons here. And then, Sylar, okay, talk about ambiguity. Okay, because in Season 1, he is portrayed as the bad guy from the get-go, though there are a couple of moments as we learn more and more about him that we are sympathetic, but we realize that he goes mad, in essence. Then in Season 2, he's trying to rebuild himself in more ways than one, is interacting with those Spanish characters, and you actually kind of feel bad for him. Towards the end, he goes right back to where he started, but on the whole, in Season 2, you do actually feel bad, despite knowing that he's probably going to cause some trouble again. This season, he's switching back and forward on a dime, okay? Because when he's with Peter's father for a while, but then he ends up being the one that actually pulls the trigger with killing him, you think, well, nice job, because they've beaten Sylar before. They can beat him again. Peter's father, on the other hand, yeah, you needed Sylar to help take him out. Him and Peter combined, that was the only real way to do it. But, then, later on, as you're trying to, reestablish that actually, Sylar's father is not Arthur, it's that guy with the cancer bit, and you realize that guy is just as messed up as he is. It's just like we know the backstory, okay? I mean, like, it is kind of nice that he learns literally who his father was and then sees the power resemblance like Peter did with his father, but it carried on too much, this bit, and it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like that the writers knew exactly what they were doing, even though if you listen to the special features of this, they knew what they were doing, okay? So I am kind of eating my words here. I freely admit it, but it just did not feel right. Man, Now, Nathan's bit, on the other hand, that felt right, okay? I don't totally get when the moment was that he started changing, especially since, final timeline Nathan doesn't seem that much better than the alternate timeline that future Peter and present Peter helped get rid of, but by the end of the season, it felt like he had made, the right choice, because the biggest themes were how he did try to stop people from apprehending Peter at a couple of times, and then Claire, yeah, there's the free pass, but then there's the fact that when they're in Mexico for a little bit, and he's doing the stuff that he does there, him getting drunk like that wasn't just to get money, okay? Because, as we later saw, he could have pawned the watch, and the thing is, someone of his income level, he can get a watch like that any day of the week. He did that as a favor to Claire to get the necklace back, and then the drinking bit, it wasn't just to get the money. Yeah, I think that there was a part of him that didn't realize it at first, but that he's punishing himself for what he's done to a few people over the course of the show. You can argue with me on that, but I think that that element is there. And then the other people, Mohinder's bit, I like that they were trying to use him in a different way that wasn't sidekick, but given the payout, where it's just a different version of the formula he and Ned Ryerson from Groundhog Day were working on in the last season, and then he kills himself and realizes, oh god, what the hell did I do to myself? Just, yeah, that was weak. Now that I saw that, I kind of wish you hadn't done that. Matt, I think eventually I am going to appreciate that, but at the moment... But it was nice to see his wife again. That makes her not being there in season 2 better. She wasn't there for long, but there is a part of them that still cares for each other, and that was nice. Hiro and Ando, again, I think I'm going to appreciate it, but... because the volume storylines feel really rough with the transitionings. At the moment, it feels disjointed, especially given how they kept backstabbing each other for the first half of this season, even though some of the times... this is me forgetting that they actually had a bigger plan in mind, and then, again, they thought they were doing the right thing. I understand that. Yeah. Ali Lauder's character, okay, I appreciate that they're trying to go a new direction here, because now you have a character that is more willing to actually do things, and yet still has the maternal instinct for Micah. Good job in bringing him back. I didn't see that twist coming, but I should have. All I had to do was remember his power, and bing! It would have made perfect sense. So there you go. If you can surprise me, you're surprised a good amount of people. But... I just wish that there was more to her character, especially since they just write her off for those last few episodes. And initially I was thinking that it was because she had been filming Resident Evil Afterlife. No, because this season, broadly speaking, premiered in '09. Resident Evil, along with season 4 of the show, came out in 2010. And when I say Resident Evil, I mean Resident Evil Afterlife, which is the fourth one. So, yeah, they wouldn't have been filming this season when Resident Evil was taking place. So it's like, what are you doing with this character, okay? I don't know, and one thing that kind of irks me is that how come she and Claire have never really interacted? Now it's only because they're the predominant female people on the show, okay? And if you really look at all the connections, not everyone has talked with everyone, because, I think it's Peter and Matt that have talked to everybody, and then Noah has almost talked to everybody, but Claire and Ali Lauder, they only talked to a few people, and half of the no. They only talked to a few people in depth. because both Claire and Ali, Lauder's character, they barely interact with Hiro and Andro at all, even though Hiro and Andro recognize them. Though I do think the Andro's power was pretty creative, and then the other chicks, what's her face, Betsy, Speed Woman, it adds a layer to Matt's character that affects his judgment in the season, which again I do think I'll appreciate down the line. And then what's her face, Electro Woman. Gonna have to watch the show again down the line and really focus on that character again. That's all I can say about that. Though I'll admit the expansion of Malcolm McDowell's character Linderman and what's his face Noah's more direct boss that he offs in season 1. A nice little layer there, and I like that they didn't try to ignore the Haitian, though I wish I could remember what the hell happened to him. Yeah, so again, part of me wants to like this, part of me thinks that this is nuts, you know? And the cliffhanger that they've got going on here, I don't have the greatest amount of faith into it, because I mean, like, you transformed Siler's corpse into Nathan, plugging him with Nathan's memories, but he still has Siler's abilities. They're just tucked back there. Well, that's going to come to the forefront eventually. I mean, like, I get that they're trying to use the message that the Dark Knight was using, or maybe it's the other way around. No, I think Dark Knight came out before this season. I think it did. But I don't have faith in it. Okay, well, if you stuck with me, I hope I touched upon just about everything that was major, and I hope you understand where I'm coming from. Later, people.